There are some people in our lives who inspire us to live more fully. My brother, Ricky Crea Jr., is one of those people. I would like to remember him and how he lived so passionately. He passed away this summer, and I would like to reflect on some moments in his life that can help me, and maybe you, to live life more fully, love more fully, be happier. When I was young, I think I was about 8 years old, Ricky and I decided that we wanted to climb the biggest tree in our neighborhood, which also happened to be the tree in our front yard. Now, the lowest hanging branches on this tree were about 15 feet off the ground, so obviously we couldn't get to it as a 13-year-old and 11-year-old. However, Ricky was dedicated. So we got a rope, a leather belt, an old leather belt, that's important for later. We got a bucket of cement, and me and Ricky, and we made a pulley system. We looped the rope up over the branch, we tied it off, we strapped me in, and up we went. Well, up I went. And I remember vividly, about halfway up, the cement bucket was just above my head level, and I was about 6 feet off the ground, and the old leather belt, that's why it was important, it's old because it snapped, and I fell to the ground. And then suddenly, the cement bucket came down on top of me. Now, fortunately, there was no long-term damage done to me or my brother, but I've always remembered this as a true lesson to how dedicated that my brother is when he really wanted something. Ricky lived his life on the fly. He did what brought him joy. He knew what it was, he knew how to get there, and he knew what to do. He never really had to take school or lessons for special skills that he wanted to acquire. He just went out and he learned them. He did them. One Christmas I got a guitar because my dad thought I was musically inclined, which is a horrible mistake. But I tried and I didn't like it, and I kind of just set it to the side. Well, Ricky came along, he picked up that guitar, he taught himself, he went online, he looked up music, and he became one of the most accomplished people at playing guitar, at being a musician that I've ever known. It was a passion. And when he was in a room with his guitar, doing what he loved to do, there was a spirit of joy, a spirit of emotion that was just contagious, and you couldn't help but be affected by it and to be moved to see what other things that you might be able to do or might be missing out on. Mistakes were made in Ricky's life, but he didn't let them get him down. He continued on. He pushed forward. Trent Shelton said, Real isn't who's with you at your celebration. Real is who's with you at rock bottom. Ricky knew this from both ends. He was at rock bottom, and I was there with him a few times, helping him get back up from rock bottom. He had friends, some of our family members, who were at rock bottom, and there was never a better person to be with if you were feeling down than Ricky Crea. He had such an emotional energy about him that you couldn't help but become happy as you watched him engage with life and the things that he loved to do. Regret is the poison of life. Ricky's life was filled with mistakes, heartache, and a lot of things that he could have avoided, but he never turned back. He did his best, he made amends, and he moved on. Ricky lived each lesson in the moment. When he felt he should do something, he did it. Good, bad, or otherwise. And this was a great shortfall of his, but most of the time, it was one of his most endearing qualities. Everyone who knew Ricky loved him, loved his character, knew that he'd made mistakes, but we loved him in spite of it. Martin Luther King said, "In the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." Ricky was never a silent friend. He was always engaged. He always loved those and defended those he was around, and he stuck up for what he believed in. He had a contagious spirit that inspired to live more fully, to live more happily. Live, laugh, and love as if each moment is your last. I hope that we can take something from the example of my brother's life. We are not promised tomorrow, but we're here today. The past is past. Learn from it. The present is now. Live in it. The future is to come. Prepare for it.